Slave codes were basically used to keep slaves and servants from joining together in rebellion. Slave codes were also used to define the differences between slaves and servants. On pages 14 and 15, we can see how slave codes were used to separate slaves and servants and how it impacted its social relations. Laws passed, such as stopping relationships, and even one to keep slaves from talking and possibly forming a rebellion. Slave codes were also meant to keep slaves down. There was a part in the book when it mentioned how even if they were Christian slaves, they had to stay enslaved because of their ancestry. There were many other slave codes that were just as messed up as the ones I mentioned, but the next thing I'm going to talk about is Bacon's Rebellion, which is kind of funny because the slave codes were meant to prevent these types of things to happen. Bacon's Rebellion confirmed many fears of plantation owners. Bacon's Rebellion showed how servants and slaves could work together for common interests such as freedom and not that harsh conditions. On page 15 and 16, the book mentions how Bacon's Rebellion was not as successful rebellion, but they did manage to burn Jamestown down, which was a big thing that the plantation owners feared. Slave codes also helped to solidify the idea of race in colonial America by separating people into different groups, such as the African American slaves and the European servants.